Okay, prog people, this is for the Elemental Catalyst Martial Knowledge Encratis Necromancer build. So, first and foremost, I do not have transmute gems to build this setup correctly. As you can see, I'm 96 out of 1,000 gems. I am fucking poor. Please bear with me with the piss poor kind of setup that this one is going to be showing. I don't play Crow very often. I also have a cat on top of me who has insisted that right now it is cuddle time. So your first setup here is going to be the Encratis Behemoth. This is going to give flame damage in up to 11 of us in the group. So if you're standing directly in the group, the Encratis is going to be buffing us and reducing our flame damage. This is important specifically for the fire boss and, well, every boss in here, because Ice Dragon has little flame Atronach spawning up at it. Fire Dragon obviously has the big AoE underneath it, and the last boss, obviously, again, little flame Atronachs. So we do not run a mythic item on this setup. We have you usually running the Encratis Behemoth. If you do not have that, do not worry. This is for way in the future. This is very much a setup that we will use when we come into Godslayer officially, but until then, just running whatever your usual setup for Catalyst Martial Knowledge is absolutely fine. But obviously Encratis is one that we'd like to have in the future. Second set obviously is going to be from Stone Garden. It is Elemental Catalyst. Hooray! We all love Catalyst. I fucking hate rocking this set, so I'm thankful to anybody who will run it for the prog. Obviously we know how this works. It's a very basic setup. Third one is, fuck me when I find it, Martial Knowledge. So you will run that weapons jewelry wise and run the catalyst on your body with your main weapon. So catalyst body, this will be your main weapon. The main hand for this one actually will be daggers. So it would be Nirnhone Charge or Nirnhone Precise, whatever your personal preference on that one is. The main thing is, though, it does have to be dual wield for the EC Crow. Yeah, you'll get it why when I go through the skills. And finally, your back bar is going to be, as ever, same as everybody else, the Maelstrom Inferno Staff. You can have it in Perfected or non-perfected. I do not care. Perfected is literally bragging rights as far as I'm concerned, but it's a lovely piece to have. Okay, into the skill setup. The reason why we run daggers first and foremost, as you can see, this has literally just been set up to give you guys an idea of what we're doing. So first of all, your spammable is going to be, oh my god, silver bolts, silver shards, whatever the fuck it is. The morph of this that does not pull in the ads. You know which morph I mean. It's the non-tank morph, basically, guys. Silver shards. Silver shards is the morph you want for here. This is going to be your main spammable until we hit last boss. I will explain why in a second. Here, where you can see I have an empty slot, we will be putting, same as everybody else, Blade Cloak morphing into Quick Cloak. Quick Cloak, again, is the major expedition. It gives you that little speed buff. Your spammable for last boss is going to be Whirlwind, also known as Spin to Win. And as you can see, quite a nice bit of physical damage. I will be looking at the morphs of this because I can never remember what the correct morph is, because I don't like it personally, but it is a good one. Next, you've obviously got your Stalking Blast Bones. This is your flame damage for your catalyst. You've then obviously got Shocking Siphon, which is your shock damage. Mystic Siphon even. Bloody hell. That is your shock damage for your catalyst setup. Mage Light is kind of self-explanatory. It's your Major Savagery and Prophecy, so you can kind of get away with running Tri-Stat pots instead of Spell Power pots. And as ever, Flawless Dawnbreaker. Back bar. Glacial Colossus. Yes, I know it's a bit odd to run it, but it is frost damage. This is your final piece for your catalyst to give you a constant uptime, so we run this instead of Pestilent for that frost. Expert Hunter will go into Camouflage Hunter, obvious buffs, Barb Trap. I really don't have to explain Barb Trap to you guys. Necrotic Orb would go into Energy Orb. Well, I remember my bloody names of things. The reason we ask you to run this is because it gives a nice little synergy for your Zenkosh, for your healer, for your other DDs. And obviously, with the synergy, explosions are lovely. Unnerving Boneyard is mainly for the major breach and frost damage. So if you don't have your Colossus, you proc your Boneyard, there you go, you've got your frost damage. And Elemental Blockade, which would be Blockade of Fire. Again, it's flame damage. Pretty much self-explanatory there as to why we run that. Like I say, I do not run EC Crow. I do not personally have it set up correctly, so this is very poor. Now, you have options for your pots. You could run the Essence of Spell Power, which you can see I have here. It's your Major Prophecy. It's your other stuffs. But you don't need it because of your back bar skills. You've got your Boneyard. There you go. I think that was your Major Prophecy skill on the back bar, was it? Oh god. Got me looking at my shit now. Here we go. Yeah. Major Breach. So that's your Breach. And there you go. Camel Hunter was your Major Savagery and Prophecy. So you don't really need the spell power pots, but they're nice to have. Right? You can get away with running fucking tri-stat pots though. Right? It really doesn't matter. You can run the tri-stat pots, you can run the Essence of Health, same as the majority of other DDs do. This is just nice if you struggle a little bit more with your mag recovery. Into CP points, last but not least, it's a very basic setup. Again, it's Exploiter, it's Biting Aura, it's Thaumaturge, it's Wrathful Strikes. Same as with everybody else. Off Balance, which is going to be hopefully given by the Templar. Biting Aura, which is your AoE effects, that's going to be buffing your Graveyard. Thaumaturge, which is your dots, that's going to be buffing your... No, that would be buffing your orb, I would assume. I do not play Crow enough. I really need to start playing it more. And obviously Wrathful Strikes, buffing up your weapon and spell damage. We always like that. And then if we look at the red tree, again, it's the same thing. It's Expert Evasion, Roll Dodging, which is quite useful for all three of the bosses. Obviously, first Ice Boss with the Lightning Storm that he does down the centre of the room. Fire Boss for the time stops that he does, and last boss time stops and the giant statues moving around. Rejuvenation is your mag health and stam recovery. Fortified is additional armor buffs, and Boundless Vitality is your health buff. Obviously, we have different options that we can always slot, such as Celerity if you feel like you're slowing down a bit too much. We can always have Spirit Mastery if, you know, for example, right now we're just practicing, we're just coming into it, we're not 100% sure on it, you know, there's things like that. Or you could even have, bloody hell, there's probably more CP that you can have options for. Rousing Speed or Slippery. Slippery is always actually quite a nice one to have just unlocked because you never know when you're going to need it. So as you can see, I've just got my my food on. I run the very basic food on this character. I run the Witch Mother's Potent Brew, max mag, max health, mag recovery. Obviously, if you don't need the extra mag recovery, you just want the health and the mag, Melon Baked Parmesan Pork is a very nice option, which is just your max health and max mag. Ghastly Eyeball, if you're really struggling, you're not quite bothered about having the health, but you're struggling a bit with your mag recovery and your mag, you can run that, which is literally just Parse Food, or you can just run a fucking Tri-Stat Food for all I care. Bewitched Sugar Skulls or the free ones from the Crown Store, any will work. If you have any questions, you know where to find me in my Discord. Pop questions in the build section or pop a question on the comments if you have any queries. And I look forward to seeing you all in prog later.